那希望他所主办的扶轮儿童的扶轮社这个高瞻远瞩的计划能够非常的圆满成功。接下来我们邀请到 Mr. John Whiting， 请大家以最热烈的掌声欢迎他来为我们做演讲，谢谢。
Let me introduce Mr. John Whiting。Mr. John Whiting 在本基金会尚未正式成立时，就透过我们的顾问 PDG Jimmy 的邀请，专程在2006年到台湾来拜访了各个地区总监，然后向他们简报有关成立青少年交换多地区的好处。因此 ，Mr. John Whiting 对于我们多地区的组织能够顺利成立和发展，有很大的贡献。我们在此向他致谢。
你好。Before I give my presentation, I've asked Chairman Lawyer and the 4 district chairs to come up. Central States has had a very special relationship with Rotary Youth Exchange Multi-District Taiwan in its formation, and we've exchanged many students over the years and continue to, and I hope that number continues to grow. And on behalf of Central States, I wanted to present all of you with a book weight, or a desk weight, with the Rotary emblem on one side and the Central States emblem on the other. Thank you.
热烈的掌声鼓励，谢谢。
谢谢。I am deeply honored to be here for the 2nd Annual Rotary Youth Exchange Multi-District Taiwan Convention. I would like to express my appreciation and gratitude to Chairman Lawyer, the entire leadership of Rotary Youth Exchange Multi-District Taiwan for making this opportunity available to me, and to sincerely thank my very special friend, Past District Governor Jimmy Lee, for his entire efforts and dedication to help establish and build a premier youth exchange program here in Taiwan. Thank you, Jimmy. I would also like to congratulate the Rotary Youth Exchange Multi-District Taiwan on their outstanding accomplishments as a multi-district youth exchange program. In a very short period of time, you have formed and organized an excellent youth exchange program, but most importantly, you have provided amazing exchange opportunities for young people around the world. Congratulations and keep up your good work. I need to begin this presentation with a confession. I have a bias toward Rotary Youth Exchange. It is, in my opinion, Rotary's best program. The Rotary Youth Exchange program allows participants to see the world not as strangers in a distant land, but as individuals. It allows us to look past stereotypes and prejudices. After all, we are not born with prejudices. They are taught to us by other people, the news media, the world around us. Because this program breaks down prejudices, it is a program of growth. People involved in Rotary Youth Exchange programs experience growth in very profound and personal ways. Exchange students are the most important part of this program. Come on, applause. You're the most important part. Exchange students? During your year of exchange, you will grow in knowledge and understanding of a new country and a culture. You will come to experience the adopted culture from personal experience, not from what you have read or been taught by others. You will discover who you really are as a person. During your exchange, you will likely experience emotional highs like you've never before. Likewise, you will likely experience emotional lows like you have never been exposed to before. I hope the highs greatly overshadow the lows, but I am sure that you have a great adventure. While you may question it at some points along your journey, you will find that you are bigger than any of the challenges that confront you. Throughout your exchange experience, you will begin to question some things you had been taught about other cultures. Because of personal relationships and experiences you form through this program, stereotypes and prejudices will begin to break down. You will begin to see people as individuals, not as stereotypical cultural groups. Parents, you are the second most important part of this amazing program. If parents were not brave enough to share their precious child, there would be no Rotary Youth Exchange program. I know from personal experience that it's not easy to send your child away to a distant land with odd customs. When our daughter was 16 years old, my wife and I allowed her to realize her dream of being an exchange student to Japan. It may not have been the best year of her life, but it was the most challenging and most rewarding year of her life to that point. I have often told parents the greatest gift that you give your child is life itself. The second most precious gift you can give them is your support and confidence that they can succeed as an exchange student. It's not always easy. When they call you with tears, you have to encourage them to hang in there and help them through a rough time. It would be so much easier to say, "Come home." But that would deny them the opportunity to grow emotionally. It's also a challenging time for parents when their child is resistant to returning home, or returns home and talks about other moms and dads in another home. It can hurt at first, but then you realize how fortunate your child is to have people who love them and care about them in another part of the world. Would we really want it any other way? Of course not. Students, you can never thank your parents enough for this unique gift. Through your sons and daughters exchange, you will have the opportunity to learn about another culture and perhaps to begin to break down some of the stereotypes that you learned as a child. An exchange is a wonderful and exciting opportunity for the entire educational community. School teachers, domestic students, and exchange students all can benefit and learn. You may learn that the way people are educated differs from culture to culture, and realize that systems have both positive and negative elements. With an exchange student in the class, there's always an opportunity to hear a different perspective. History is a classic example of this opportunity. We tend to think of history as common facts, names, dates, events, etc. But the history we learn can vary greatly depending on the filters that we see it through. History, as seen through the filter of a different culture, allows one to see history from a different perspective. The social impact is perhaps the most important educational aspect. In life, we learn about other cultures and countries mostly through textbooks, televisions, movies, and other mass media. Seldom do we have the opportunity to learn about customs, cultures, and societies through first-hand experience. An exchange permits us to experience a new culture with fresh eyes. Hopefully, it allows us to begin to see past some of the stereotypes and prejudices that we have learned and carried with us. When we have learned for ourselves firsthand, we often come to very different conclusions. We find that some of the stereotypes just simply do not fit with reality. Host families accept an exchange student into their home. They do more than just simply agree to provide a place for a person to sleep and to feed them. They often find that the stranger in their home, while from a distant land and different culture, actually has many of the same concerns, desires as children in their own culture. They worry about fitting in and doing well at school. They worry about having friends and doing well in sports. They worry about being accepted by the family, and most of all, and simply, they want to be accepted and loved. They want to be a part of the family, not a guest. Over the years, my family has hosted many students. When you open your home to an exchange student, you open your heart as well. As a result of our hosting and our involvement with the amazing program, we now have family in all corners of the world. Our international family has helped us to look past prejudices and stereotypes and has allowed us to come to know individuals. We have family throughout Europe, in most corners of Asia, in Central and South America, Australia, New Zealand, and many parts of Africa. Thankfully, the more love you have in your heart, the greater your capacity to love. The neighborhood I live in now has no boundaries. My neighborhood is the world. Over my 20-plus years of involvement in Rotary Youth Exchange Program, I have known several hundred, perhaps 1,000 Rotarians involved in the Rotary Youth Exchange Program. With very few exceptions, I can count them on one hand. These Rotarians are involved because they are extremely dedicated to the program and to the students. In most cases, the Rotarian's family is deeply committed to the program as well. Rotarians are involved in this program because it greatly benefits the youth involved and is making a positive change to our world one student at a time. In July 2005, Carl Wilhelm Stenhammer, then RI President, addressed the Central States Rotary Youth Exchange Program Summer Conference. He noted his dream is to have every 17-year-old in the world be an exchange student for 1 year. That way, he said, there would be no more wars. I would like to read you a very brief story by Lauren Isley. It's titled The Starfish Story. One day a man was walking along the beach and noticed a boy picking something up and gently throwing it into the ocean. Approaching the boy, he asked, "What are you doing?" The youth replied, "Throwing starfish back into the ocean. The surf is up, the tide is out. If I don't throw them back, they'll die." "Son," the man said, "don't you realize there are miles and miles of beach and hundreds of starfish? You can't make a difference." After listening politely, the boy bent down, picking up another starfish, and threw it into the surf. Then, smiling at the man, he said, "I made a difference to that one." Rotarians are helping Rotary Youth Exchange students make a difference in our world, one student at a time. I want to thank the students, the families, the host families, the schools, for their participation in this program. Without your collective participation, Rotarians would not have the reward of participating in this exceptional program. Thank you very much for the opportunity to address you at this conference, and thank you for your attention. 谢谢。
好，我们再一次感谢 Mr. John Waiting。